Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second showcase of our spring 2021 semester. Thank you all so much again for hanging out and checking out the show. We are going to have a really fun evening tonight. Tonight's show is very, very special. We have finally gotten the opportunity to do a showcase where we're featuring our film scoring and video game composing students of the Music and Technology Department, which is also going to feature a variety of other really fabulously talented people, illustrators, videographers, filmmakers, and it's going to be a really, really great evening. I am Rebecca Haviland, the co-head of the undergraduate studio composition department here at Purchase College Conservatory of Music, and tonight I have a very, very special guest joining me. I have coerced a colleague of mine into co-hosting this evening. She is an incredibly talented film scorer, fabulous person, and a new professor to our music and technology program, teaching master classes and also our film scoring one course. So I'd like to bring Alba Toramocha to the screen. Alba.
Hey, hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Of course, thank you for having me. There was no coercion involved. I'm very happy to be here.
Yay.
It's going to be a really, really fun night. And thank you for putting these amazing streams together and always making sure everything is working and, wearing all the hats while looking fabulous at the same time. We're very lucky to have you.
Well, I have to say, one of the perks of COVID times is that my green room is like right out there, and I can like literally change my outfit 10 times without having to bring a giant suitcase with me. So that
is a plus for sure.
It's definitely
silver linings, right?
Yeah, silver linings for sure. And also, so I'm in Westchester County, and I know that you're upstate somewhere fabulous.
Mm-hmm. New York.
Yeah, with a beautiful view of a lake I see all the time.
Definitely. It's good to, be able to see some nature instead of just a block of buildings, which is what I'm used to.
But it is. I completely agree. So, Alba, I'd love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you. You've been scoring film for a while. You're also a string player.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I consider myself primarily a media composer. I do a bunch of film composing and video game composing, which I love. And yeah, I also have a past as a classical composer and a string player. And I do a little bit of orchestration too and conducting. So that's fun. And yeah, I'm originally from Spain. This is where this accent comes from. Yeah, I've been, as you mentioned, fairly new at teaching at Purchase, but I'm really enjoying it so far, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what everyone worked on for the showcase.
Yes, and I know all of our students are really enjoying getting to have you for master classes as well as our film scoring course. So I just want to say, how proud we both are of the musical diversity of our students, and we're really excited to be showcasing the hard work these students have put into creating their musical compositions this year. This has been a tough year for a lot of artists, but I also feel like it's been one that's created a lot of creativity and a lot of compositions as well, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think just being able to, be together in Zoom just is a nice way of keeping the creativity going and getting to share, with each other what we do, which is a very important part of our careers.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something that creates inspiration as well, and we get to hang out and still see each other, even if it's through a screen.
Absolutely.
So we've broken tonight's showcase into 3 categories. We decided to start with programmatic or storyboard films, and then we're going to be doing an audio-visual experience portion, and then finish off the showcase with full features. But to get things started, as normally happens during showcases in New York City and Nashville and LA, the host usually starts out with a song of their own. And I've been starting out the last couple of showcases, but tonight, since we have Alba as our guest, I thought we would start with presenting something that you've recently worked on.
Yeah, this was a very fun film that actually happened entirely during the pandemic. So that was an interesting and challenging process too, because I was, fleeing the city at the same time as composing this soundtrack for this. So I had my just like staple studio, just, one microphone and thankfully I had my strings, but it was an interesting project to work on, improvising a little bit the studio space.
So you basically worked on this all in your own confined space, never being in the same space as the other people.
Yes, which was definitely a communication challenge, but we got through it, and it actually ended up being a very rewarding experience. So
that's great. So can you tell us what we're going to check out?
Yeah, so this is a trailer for a film that I did last. It's called Block, and it's a very fresh take on coming out. It's about a person that hasn't come out to anyone, and the way that has manifested in her life is that she has a cinder block attached to her that only she can see and feel, but no one else can see. And obviously that's a metaphor of how deep of a and dark of a feeling it is to feel like you haven't accepted yourself fully, and you're not able to share that with the people you love. So but all from a lens of pure comedy and quirkiness, which was really fun to score and put a voice to through the soundtrack. So
wonderful. Cool. All right, awesome. Well, let's check it out.
Hi, I'm Kit, and yes, I'm gay. Now, I know it may seem like I'm doing just fine and dandy, but the truth is that things aren't quite going as well as I'd have hoped to by now.
No, what's going on?
It's nothing like that. Nothing like that. I've had a 30-pound cinder block attached to me for the past 3 months, and nobody can see it but me.
Wow, this is a lot.
Basically, in order to get rid of this thing, I have to face my fears. I gotta come out to everyone.
Your secret's safe with me.
Your secret is safe with me.
Your secret's safe with me.
Is safe with me.
Why don't you maybe start with trying to figure out why you have a little bit of a problem with being gay?
It was the most absurd, scary, joyous, exciting, beautiful time of my life. Anyway, I don't want to give too much away. So here's my story.
That was really cool. And I can totally hear the quirkiness in your scoring, really representing and bringing out the plot line of the film.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun one. It premiered online, like many things are doing lately. They were trying to wait and see if they could do an in-person premiere, but they did online, and now they're doing festival runs and stuff. So
that's wonderful. Yeah, and I think that's something too a lot of people are trying to figure out, because you have to keep on the schedule and get things put out in the world so that you can do what's next. And hopefully with all things starting to open up again, that times out well for this film.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, let's get to our first student presenter this evening. And we actually have a pair of presenters for this first one. And this student is named Jagger Clark. Jagger has also presented a composition in our fall showcase and is a studio composition major. And Jagger will be joined by illustrator Paige Monty. Jagger is presenting a selection from The Fallen King, which follows the story of a place called Faris, a city in ruins. The music, video editing, and story and concept behind the artwork are all done by Jagger. The artwork was created by Paige Monty, a freelance animator, illustrator, and storyboard artist based out of New York City. So let's bring them to the screen. Jagger, Paige, thank you both for joining us tonight.
A pleasure.
So could you just tell us a little bit about how you both met?
Funnily enough, I was actually getting my hair cut, and my hairstylist, Joni, because I told her I was looking for an artist, she actually gave me Paige's email, and that's how I got into contact with Paige.
Joni also cuts my hair. So
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Alba?
Yeah, sometimes you don't have to, go to a fancy party to do networking. You just have to get your hair cut and just hope for the best, right?
Exactly.
That's awesome. So I want to know more about this Fallen King piece. Like, is this something that are you envisioning it as a symphony, or is it part of is it an opera? Is it a podcast? What is it? Tell us a little bit about this.
So The Fallen King is a whole story I've devised. It's actually a book I've been writing, and I'm currently trying to find an editor right now for it. is this whole story set in a fantastical world where magic is real. And in this particular setting, we follow these children who are on their own little quest to correct this rather corrupted world where people get to power who don't deserve it. They're cruel to others, etc. And they're trying to actually find a god. In which case, we bring us to the current video, Forest, where the sleeping god currently lays.
That's fascinating that you just came up with this whole amazing story. And so now that you're starting to collaborate with Paige and getting some visuals together, is this something that you're envisioning to release as a fully visual experience? Are you envisioning as a fully just I guess musical graphic novel, or what would be the end result of this?
End result, there are many dreams I have. Hollywood. That would be nice. But
yes.
Right now, Paige has been fantastic in giving me great artwork based off of my very crazy descriptions that come up in my mind. And right now, while my book is going through its phases, I would love to release it as soon as it's fully completed and quality is as good as it can be. Is to release videos on YouTube, taking these little snippets of the story along with music that I come up with as well, and kind of tell bits and pieces of the story.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Yeah. And Paige, I'm also interested on your side of the collaboration. Like, how does it work for visual artists to create these snippets? Like, are you going off of the music along with the story that you have?
Sorry. Yeah, no, I actually haven't heard any of the music yet. So this is all going to be new for me today.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. Basically, I work visually, both just because that's what I create, but also like I learn visually more than any other way. So yeah, actually, during our first ever illustration we made, he gave me a very long description. I said, any way you could rudimentally draw this a very basic way, because it was a lot of words, and I sometimes struggle to visualize things when there's like a wall of text. And he did that, and from that rough sketch, every time since we've gotten, he does like a little key or something, a little rough outline of what it should look like, and from there we take it to the, okay, now here's what it will look like from this idea. Yeah.
So Jagger, did the illustrations come up, were they completed first, or did you have the score, or was it sort of both at the same time?
So what I usually do is I'll write the score first. Well, it's kind of weird. I have the story in my head first, like the images I want to have. Then I write the score to it, and then I'll then work in reverse and then create the story off of the music, send my ideas to Paige with this very kindergarten, my own sketch, and still be able to make that into a far, far better drawing that I'll try and edit into a video, more moving style. And recently I've tried to get more used to video editing. So in the future I can, fingers crossed, make it more and more interesting story-wise.
Great. So do you plan on continuing to collaborate together?
Yeah, definitely. I've actually
putting you on the spot a little bit, but I have to say I'm so excited about what was created. I think you guys are onto something really cool.
I keep harassing her every now and again to
well, she hasn't listened to the music yet, so maybe after she sees the final result.
Yes.
We're actually currently working on, I just sent her a recent one of another portion of the story, which actually takes place before Forest, but I'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Cool.
But yeah, definitely I plan on working with Paige. She's doing a fantastic job, and I'd love to keep a hold of that.
Wonderful. Well, where can people find out more about both of you? I see you have websites and information on your screens.
If ever, and this goes through the current video, it's going to be shown today. You can find all of my work and descriptions about my work on my website. Let's see if I can get it right. Right here.
Got it.
At jaggercodyclark.com. My YouTube is also there in like a little bubble on the left-hand side of the page.
Awesome. Paige?
Yeah, I'm going to get it wrong. It's this right here. This is actually everything. So my Instagram, my Twitter. I have a YouTube. I mainly do storyboard and animation work when I'm not doing illustrations. So YouTube is a good hosting site for all of that. And I do have a website, but you can find that link on any of my social media. There's like a link to all the other links. So you can find everything pretty easily.
Perfect. Well, thank you both so much. I think we should show everybody what we've been spending all this time talking about.
Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Hang on one sec. I'm going to click on my screens. We will get going. All right. Thank you so much, Jagger and Paige. That was really, really awesome. Yeah, I loved how dynamic it was and just how well the music really linked itself to the visual component.
Definitely, yeah. It felt like the transitions even very seamless visually and really awesome artwork too. So,
yeah, really, really beautiful. Cool. Well, let's keep going. So our next presenter this evening is Vincent Nguyen. Vincent is a freshman in our studio composition program and will be presenting a programmatic composition entitled Story of a Bird. It was originally conceived in 2016, and Vincent recently picked it back up again and completed it this year, I believe, for this showcase, hopefully. And the artwork was created by multiple artists, including Kaylin Lamb, Lauren Ellett, Maylee Campos, and Anna Pogodzinski. And the original score was written by Vincent. So let's find Vincent in my green room. Here we go. What's up, Vincent?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
It's so nice to see you. And I see you have some instruments behind you as well.
Oh yes, that is my fabled five-string electric violin and my clarinet.
Nice. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you a question first because there's one thing that you put in the description for this that I thought would be great for us to start with. You mentioned that each character in the story is actually represented by a specific instrument. Could you tell us a little bit about that and why you chose to make this be part of the composition?
Yes, definitely. So this actually went back to one of my older projects, actually for a competition that I did, which was to write a score to this little kind of like Studio Ghibli kind of cartoon. And the first time I did something like that, it was very stressful. I didn't know what to do, so I just stuck with the main character equals like this certain oboe run or lick. So like I kind of went with the same idea here. The mama bird is represented by the piccolo. Piccolo in its low range because, you know, as a mother, like, well, I'm not from experience, but from when I see, like, you know, it stoops down. So like, you know,
okay.
Of course, baby doesn't like, you know, fly off and flex on the baby all the time, you know, like, and the two flutes are just, you know, two other birds, and then the oboe is this kind of bigger, different kind of bird. But yeah, I think you guys will be able to tell which one is which.
Yeah,
cool.
For sure. That kind of ties into my question, so I'm just gonna take it from here. I was amazed to see how many people you've collaborated with, from, you know, visual artists to other performers. I feel like that's what we as composers strive for. We're always in our hermit cave, just you know, writing on our own, and that's the moment we get to collaborate with other artists and other musicians. That's the highlight of our career, I think. And I wanted to hear more about it. You said that you recorded the two flute parts and the piccolo, and I was wondering if you recorded any other instruments, and what was the process like to you know, get those recorded and then implemented into the mock-up?
Yeah. Well, only actually, funnily enough, only the flute and piccolo parts are recorded, because this actually started the whole project. Like I revived this project just because my flute player, he texted me in like the middle of the night, like back at the very beginning of March, and he's like, "Yo, I'm bored. Like,
write something for me."
yeah,
cool.
And like,
that's the best inspiration you can get.
yeah. So like, I just revived the whole project for that. I was like, okay, might as well just you know, give him what he wants. And now I have this. Everything else was all MIDI, all sample library stuff. It was pretty hard because, you know, it's like controlling the whole orchestra with your fingers. You gotta pay attention to every single detail. So I tried to make it as realistic as possible. So I hope you guys can hear that.
Yeah, and it's amazing, right? How just having one human element, one real instrument, can turn a score around and really bring that that musical element, that human element. Is this piece part of a bigger project? Are you you know, envisioning this as part of, you know?
I don't think so. I think this is like I guess the end of the line for this piece. Maybe in the far future I might hire an animator for this, but this is a good start for what I have.
Mm-hmm. And the visuals. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I have a lot of questions.
Keep going. Keep asking.
No, I was just wondering if the visuals were created after the music was composed, or you were somehow also inspired by the visuals to create the music.
That's a hard question because it's like all over the place. Well, let's just say that the visuals were made before I wrote the project. Well, the first version of the music inspired the visuals, which then like kind of I left in the dust for a while. And then when I revived the project, my music was based on the visuals.
Right. So there's always that back and forth process that seems to be the trend with all these visual storyboards.
Yeah. So what's next on in your list of projects, Vincent? I know you're always working on things. I have you in songwriting, and it's always exciting to see what you're creating.
Well, I have a lot of projects that I'm actually working on. I'm working on disco, EDM, and metal and rock. Those are my 4 current projects right now, and I might add some country in there. I'm trying to hit all of the bases for music. So
you sure are.
I think you should add some country in there. Just tick all the boxes. So you're working on some more original music, not necessarily scoring.
Yeah, no, just original music like singles and stuff. Collaborating with other artists, of course, in the conservatory.
That's wonderful. Well, maybe we'll have to have you on a showcase in the fall where we get to hear some of these original songwriting pieces.
Yeah.
That'd be very exciting. So, Vincent, where can people find out more about you and your music?
You can follow my Instagram. It's in my name right here. And then I have a website. It's just espresso-hub.net. I have a YouTube channel. I'll be in the comment section on the YouTube stream.
Great. Do you like espresso, Vincent?
That's just my Instagram handle. I prefer to be known as the Espressos because eventually there's gonna be more than one of me. So yeah.
So nothing to do with the coffee drink?
No, nothing to do with that.
Okay. I was gonna say I'm obsessed with espresso, so we could have a whole other like podcasty style video thing where we just talk about coffee, but never mind. So, well, let's watch this storyboard and listen to your wonderful scoring. I just want to say as a quick disclaimer, not necessarily directed to you, Vincent, but everyone this evening, that some of these films have strong language and strong graphic concepts. So it's not necessarily appropriate for kids in the room for some of these films that we're showing this evening. So that being said, let's check this out. Mm-mm. All right. Thank you so much, Vincent. I'm just going to say I cried when I first watched it.
It is really beautiful, and I must say that connected to what we were talking about before, I felt like the flutes were beautifully mixed into the score. You did an awesome job, not only bringing them on as the melodic themes, but also creating texture with the trills and with the runs up and down. I thought you did a beautiful job using this live instrument to really bring life to the score.
Yeah, exactly. It felt incredibly organic to the way that you mixed everything as well, and composed almost like around the piccolo parts. It just made the other pieces, the other instrumentation, really feel like it was cohesive and not like it was from two separate realms almost.
Absolutely, yeah. And it definitely felt like the main character of the piece. So that's great.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Vincent. Let's move on to our next presenter. So we have Cooper Myers, a senior double majoring in studio composition and media studies, who will be joined by Igor Subotin, a senior in the film VFA program. And they will be presenting a short film called Isotonic, which was created by Igor. Cooper composed the score for the short film, enlisting Purchase College Jazz Studies major David Webb to play drums, building his composition around that, a combination of lo-fi opening into something more dynamic as the film progresses. So enough of me talking. Let's ask all about those things. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I am going to guess that you are both on campus.
We are. We are in Beat Suite right now. One of the few places we can gather.
Wonderful. Nice. Well, thank you both for joining us tonight. And, I guess I want to start off by asking, how did you both meet?
So we actually, there was a posting on the open forum about someone who wanted to start a band. And this man here is actually a great drummer, funnily enough. Oh. So we were in the same band together, and that's how we originally met. And then, we haven't been meeting as much, obviously, because of COVID. But it sort of evolved into working alongside him with films and stuff.
Wonderful. So, Igor, did you create the film first, or in collaboration with Cooper's composition?
The film was kind of a journey on its own. Like, I started shooting a whole bunch of stuff that started to happen in my life when the quarantine started. Because, this is like my first time on campus since the quarantine started, literally a year. I'm having a culture shock to an extent. But I was just kind of recording everything that was happening, didn't really feel where I wanted to take it. And then I started developing it more for an experimental class that I was taking. And then it kind of gained a life of its own, started developing into something else. I initially used the music by LJ, which is kind of like capturing the tessellation of the world as we know it. But then it became into something a lot more present time, a lot more immediate. And that's where Cooper stepped in. He has this amazing ability of taking whatever I tell him in regards to the story and then turning them into adjectives and then musically incorporating them. I have no idea how he does it, but it's a language thing and it just clicks and it's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
That's a great skill to have for a film scorer. So props to you, Cooper, for being able to do that. I was actually going to ask about that process of composing the score, because you mentioned that originally the film was cut to tessellate, right?
It was a really interesting process because I actually had the drummer who played on this, David Webb, sort of play the exact same drum beat for tessellate because it was already synced up and the cues were already very specific to the beat. And so, and it wasn't to a click or anything. And so he just played that exactly as it was. And I sort of built a composition around that using, Logic synths and everything. And so it was really interesting. It was definitely a big back and forth between me and Igor. The final version is a lot different than what I originally conceived in terms of arrangement and just what I thought it would be. And it turned out to be something different than I write usually. If anyone knows what I normally write, it's not this. So
that's a very interesting creative process. I was going to ask how you worked around that. Did you feel constrained at all by the fact that you needed to have that tempo and that specific set of cues in place and build around it, or did you find that was also a source of inspiration on its own?
Yeah, I would say definitely leaning towards it being a source of inspiration. I feel like there's a saying that I always love to say. I should know who said it, but limitation breeds creativity. And I feel like working within the confines of like a very specific drum beat and like very specific cues really opened me up to like write things that to expand the type of genres that I work with and.
For sure, yeah, and sometimes having a pre-existing, constraint like that, it takes you out of your comfort zone and makes you create things that you wouldn't have otherwise. So that's awesome. Igor, I'm curious about what the other part of the collaboration was like in that sense, because in the industry, we have this thing that we call temp love, where a director has been working with a pre-existing temporary score, and they have edited all the timings around it, and they're in love with how it sounds. And then here comes the composer, and they have to just play around this preconception and love that their director has for this score. And I wonder if it was hard for you to transition into Cooper's score and accept it as part of the film when you already had that Tessellate song in mind.
Yeah, so it was kind of hard detaching from the Tessellate, just because it was in the edit for so long. But then when Cooper showed me the first draft that he put together with the music, I was like, this is taking on a whole new shape now because it's being completely reimagined. And that's kind of where the name came from too. It's like, it's now more present. It's not reminiscing. It's putting us into this limbo of, quarantine, being in between, of realizing what's about to happen with the world and like kind of just being there. And it just made me rediscover the film actually. So like I really kind of listened to the musical cues that it had, and I did some major restructuring actually after Cooper showed me that first draft, because it was calling for it. And I just feel like, as an editor and a director, like I have to be able to hear these things when they come from the content and like let the story tell its own thing. And if it's trying to be something else, like that's the beauty of editing, is that you can shift things around all you want until it works perfectly. So yeah, it was extremely fruitful. Really enjoyed it.
That's amazing when that happens, and when you get a collaborator that is willing to change their preconceived ideas into something that is just what the art calls for, and that's definitely a great way of working, and just kind of like merging into something different by collaborating on it. So that's awesome. It sounds like you two found a way of collaborating that is perfect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I wouldn't I love this man. I would not want to work with anyone else. We communicate so well, and appreciate him reaching out to me for this.
That's awesome. And I have to say, on an exciting note, I mean, it's one of the things we talk a lot about at Purchase College, just getting to meet people that you hopefully really connect with and then can work with throughout the rest of your career. So I'm very excited for you both. Do you plan on working on any other projects currently with each other or in the near future?
Yeah, we do. I'm actually going to be scoring Igor's senior film, which is a bit of an experimental nature documentary. So very excited to do that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
It's molding itself as well. It's like this beautiful place of being in the middle of, you're not quite sure what the movie is going to be because Doc is in the edit. You don't really know what it is until you have all of your footage, you put it together, you see where it's going, and you build the narrative. And being able to construct the music and according to that, like, just going to have it all generate itself as we go. It's like this really fontaining creative process that is very pleasant to just experience.
That's wonderful. So when do you think that might be available for us all to check out?
Definitely by May, because the reviews are in May. So I got to have it done one way or another.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see it, and we'll get to see more work from both of you working together, which is very exciting as well. Well, thank you both again. Where can people find out more about your music and your films?
Here. This is my Instagram. Wait, and then this is mine. Okay, wait, I don't want to overshadow your...
This is my favorite iteration of this so far.
Yeah, this is... I love getting to ask this question now because it's like a challenge to see who is going to point exactly spot on. I think so far Jagger has won, but only because this is his third time, I believe. Second time. So, yes. All right, wonderful. Yes.
Oh, but there's also coopermyers.org, which is my website, and then Igor's Vimeo.
Yeah,
which
it's somewhere out there. I mean, it's on the Instagram page, so if you go there, you'll see it right away.
Great. And maybe, once we start viewing this, you both can throw up that information into the YouTube and Facebook comments as well. I think everyone would love to know where to find all of that. So fantastic. Well, thank you both so much. Let's get to checking this out. Awesome. Thank you both so much. That beat just makes me want to write a song.
Yeah, I love how the production too blends so seamlessly with the sound design to the point where you don't really know which is which, and that makes it all super organic and just seamless. I love the experience.
Yeah, it almost makes the film, in a way, feel like it's an instrument. It's very part of the composition in of itself. And the same goes for the instrumentation. I feel like there's almost a visual that goes along with that in a cool way.
Yeah, now you can understand what they were talking about just going back and forth, moving elements with that. So
you really feel the collaboration for sure.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, well, I look forward to us doing this again next year, and hopefully, actually, I believe they're both graduating. No. Maybe we'll do like an alumni one of these. That could be very fun.
Yeah.
So. All right, wonderful. Well, let's keep going. Next up, we have Nico Van Patten. And I have to admit, I've only known Nico's music from his original compositions, which are more pop styled. So this was very exciting for me to get to hear this other side of Nico. He is presenting a composition written for video game or film. And this composition is meant to express a lively and cheerful perspective of what a home full of magic might sound like, and is inspired by themes of games such as Pokemon and The Legend of Zelda, which I know would make my husband very happy because he's obsessed with Zelda. So without further waiting here, let's bring Nico to the stage. What's up, Nico?
Hi, I'm really excited. How are you?
I am very excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about how you came about composing this piece.
So I was kind of using the structure of Pokemon games, how they have like specific themes for each town, and they also have themes for like the routes in between the towns. So I was kind of trying to create like my version of what like the hometown kind of feeling, like the first level, that kind of vibe. And I ended up writing this thing that made me Think of like fantasy-inspired video games like Zelda. And I was just really inspired to write something kind of lighthearted and cartoony almost.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you can definitely hear that influence, and I was wondering actually, since at least the earlier iterations of these scores were largely based on the 8-bit aesthetic, right? Because that's the technology that was available at the time. I was wondering how that influenced, if in any way, your composition or production process, if you tried to emulate those 8-bit sounds, or what was it like to
yeah, absolutely. It's super affected my production style. I've kind of been working on creating the kind of physical limitations they have, but within Logic, which I have like access to a lot more. So I've been learning how to use a lot of distortion plugins. That's been a big thing. That's kind of something I didn't dabble in when I was just working on pop music. So it's kind of opened the door for a lot of new timbres in my music.
Yeah,
and also
chiptune.
And also I find that a lot of like arrangements for GameCube games, I've achieved the sound of those samples by layering synthesizers over real instruments, but like in a very subtle way where you can't tell that it's layered. It just adds this kind of like body and fullness to an otherwise kind of like crappy instrument sample. So I've just been learning a lot of tricks like that to kind of emulate the references that I kind of grew up playing. So yeah.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's an aesthetic on its own, like it has transcended the technological limitations and has become definitely a style on its own. And I think there is a lot of beauty right now in finding that middle ground between keeping the aesthetic and being true to that limited sound, but also making it feel full in the mix and making it feel like really, really well crafted. I don't know if you know this composer, Disaster Piece. He composed the music for Fez, Hyper Light Drifter, and he, for me, at this time, is the master of doing that. He just creates these full sounding, amazing scores, but keeping true to that style. So definitely check him out. I'll put it in the comments.
Yeah, that's awesome. Please put it in the comments because I'm not familiar with this work.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, this is awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Yeah, Nico, I'm also excited to hear this other side of your production and arranging elements, and I kind of think it's a cool thing to bring back into your songwriting production as well. So I look forward to hearing that maybe in the future.
Yeah, for sure.
A little cross-pollination here. So, Nico, what's next for you? Are you going to continue working on video game music?
Yes, I'm currently working on creating like a pretty large body of work of these kind of like 3 to 5 minute short pieces that are intended to be like looped if they were in a video game, or just like short themes in a film. I plan on releasing that on Spotify eventually, hopefully by this year, but I don't want to like say that. So I plan on releasing like a bunch of video game music, soundtrack kind of stuff on Spotify, and also I've been working on like pop singles. So those will definitely have a couple of those by the end of the year also.
Wonderful. And if people want to find out more about you, I see you have what I believe is your Instagram handle.
Yes. I don't have a website yet, coming soon, but for now you can, find me at that Instagram handle, and that's where all my information will be.
Wonderful. All right. Well, let's check out your film and composition. right, that was wonderful, Nico. Thank you so much for presenting this evening. I think my favorite part is the part that to me feels like they're in the kitchen cooking in the Zelda game.
Yes, definitely. I can hear that. I thought it was also really fun how he combined, this chiptune elements with elements that are organic, like the string pizzicato, but it still retain this quality of like really short, articulated sound. So it all blended together very seamlessly. I created this like meta aesthetic in a way.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, definitely. And Nico, I know, is very loves to use piano as part of his production elements, and so that added such a nice percussive element in combination with the pizzicato strings. So that was very tasteful, Nico. Thank you so much. All right, well let's keep moving on. And back by popular demand. Sorry, Andrew, I totally stole your line from your description. We have Andrew Alford, who will be presenting an audiovisual composition that uses different instruments to represent different elements in the video, such as wooden trees being represented by marimbas and kalimbas. And I am very excited to have Andrew back. Alba, this is your first time getting to interview Andrew. So let's bring him to the screen here. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So tell us a little bit about the piece that you've written and created for this showcase tonight.
Yeah, so the thing is that when I found out there was going to be a film composition showcase, I was incredibly excited until I realized that I didn't actually have a film or any friends that I knew of at the time that did.
But we
film.
have to fix that.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody watching, all 47 people who are watching right now, can you all find a lovely person to collaborate with Andrew? Cool. Keep going, Andrew. Sorry.
Right.
Now we're gonna wait until we find.
Give me a second. I'll write it. I'll present it instead of this. But
yes.
Yeah. So I had to improvise, and I just looked up on YouTube, and I found this YouTube channel called No Copyright, and it had free no copyright videos. But that presented the new challenge of it had pretty nice videos. I found a time lapse of the night sky of different night skies, but it wasn't really plot driven. So I kind of had to be creative and improvise how I wanted to move the music along and kind of have it evolve throughout when there's not really a plot to help me with that.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions. How did you go about doing that? Did you just divide the clip into different sections that you thought were related to each other and then created transitions, or how did that work?
Well, I kept the video that I found almost exactly as I found it. I sped it up a little bit just so it wasn't 8 minutes long, so it was a little bit shorter. But other than that, I kept it as is. And what I did was I kind of brought instruments in and out depending on what the video was showing. So as mentioned before, if trees were in the video, I'd throw in a marimba and a kalimba, and if another thing I did was if there was stone, I used cajon, and then I found this really cool instrument in my sample library called stone play. I don't know what it is, but it reminded me of stone. So
that's awesome. How sometimes we can just find inspiration for the instruments or for the production just from looking at the visuals. I'm always fascinated by that, because that means that we have such a strong we make such a strong connection between sounds and codes, right? What they represent, why does something sound woody or stony, and I'm just curious to hear if you were if that was a process that you were trying out with the video, just trying out different samples to see if they sound like that thing that you're seeing, or if you just knew exactly what sound you wanted to use.
A mix of both. I knew when I saw palm trees, I knew okay, I want to represent that with steel drums just because of kind of tropical vibe. But other stuff like the stone took me ages to figure out, okay, what the hell sounds like stone.
And why did you end up choosing cajon? What elements of the cajon sound like stone to you?
I just figured it's funny because it's a wooden instrument, but I just thought the kind of percussive elements, but it wasn't percussive in the same way that the marimba was, where it was very woody textured. It was kind of more sturdy if that makes sense.
It definitely has this rattly element to it that definitely could be associated with like pebbles being moved around or something like that. I could definitely see that. I approve that choice for what it's worth. But yeah, that's awesome. But is there any like you talked about the challenge of creating development English when there is no narrative line, and I'm also wondering about transitions, because in the video like things like we change from one landscape to another almost right away, and I wonder if you had to create the transitions yourself, or you just chose to hit those cuts with the music, or how do you go about that?
I tried my best to be like a little bit sneaky with how I wrote the music so that it kind of lined up in like a nice place with the music. So I used like maybe extending a chord and just letting it ring with like wind chimes for a couple of them, and then like changing the tempo a little bit. Not so much that it's super noticeable, but enough that it's like, okay, well, it lines up with the video and it doesn't just look like there's a random cut halfway through this measure for no reason.
That's definitely the biggest challenge of the film composer. So looking forward to see what you did with that.
Yeah, so I just have a couple more questions. Did the sounds inspire the composition process, or vice versa?
I feel like I kind of like had like a general idea of like what I wanted the composition to be like. Like I try to like, when I think of night, I kind of think of like general like lullaby-ish. So like contrary to the previous two compositions I presented in the showcases, this one's kind of like a lot more simple. It doesn't really use that many advanced techniques. So that's kind of something I wanted to go for, with a really like, still sounds nice, but it's much more simple and relaxed. And then after that, I kind of tried to like weave in these elements of representing different elements in the video.
Cool. That's great. So, I mean, hopefully everybody who's watching hits you up for some work, but what is next for you, Andrew? What are you working on?
So funnily enough, a couple hours after I submitted this piece, I get a message from my friend, who I didn't know she did movies, but she said, hey, her high school, my old high school, is doing a film festival. Can you write some music for me? And I'm like, yeah, of course. Bad timing, but yeah, of course. So that was
there
fun.
You go. You manifested it.
You did.
That's what
exactly. A couple hours too late, but yeah.
You are a freshman, which means that we can hopefully have you continue to present at these showcases for a little while longer, at least. So it's going to be really great to continue to see how you're growing as a composer, and the new work and collaborations that you're going to be doing. So thank you so much, Andrew. And I appreciate the enthusiasm of continuously doing this and letting yourself be subjected to mine and now Alba's questioning. All right, let's check this out. thank you so much, Andrew. And I just have to say that the way that Andrew, you said this was simple, but you're constantly resolving those motifs to the major 7, and it just like feels so complex, but in like a nice, relaxing way.
Yeah, and I'm also going to jump on the hype train of the comments here and say that the transitions were amazing.
Yes.
You did a great job, just taking us from one place to another very seamlessly, yet creating development and creating enough change that we are never bored. I love how you use this motif in the Glockenspiel, that to just take us from that beginning and bringing it back at the end as a nice bookend, and love that killer combination of suspended cymbal rolls and harp glees that catapult us directly into dream world.
Yes. Yeah, really wonderful, Andrew. Thank you so much. And hopefully you'll just keep being the MVP of the showcases here. So before we get to our final 2 presenters, I just wanted to take a second and thank a bunch of people that have just been so helpful in facilitating these showcases. First off, Jenny Underkoffler, the director of the Music Conservatory, for her constant, never-ending enthusiasm and support and facilitating the creation of this Music and Technology Festival. And I'd also like to thank Leah Springer for assisting with promotion, and our fearless M&T leader, Peter Dennenberg, who is the bestest, the chair of our M&T department. Without him, none of this would be possible. As well as all of our studio composition and production professors. And I'd also like to thank you, Alba, for being a wonderful co-host this evening.
So much fun. And thank you, host extraordinaires, for having us through this awesomeness. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And most importantly, I would like to thank all of our students who've presented this evening for their hard work this semester, and being able to find creativity and collaboration, even in such strange times. And hopefully these collaborations and this creation will continue to be fruitful for all. So we're going to close out with the feature film portion of our showcase, and we have 2 separate films to present. The first is from a graduate studio composition student, Mara Keene, who will be presenting a clip from her submission to the 2021 Score the World contest, taken from the movie Son of Saul, which was directed by Laszlo Nemes. And I'm going to bring Mara to the screen to tell us a little bit more about everything. Mara, thank you so much for coming and hanging and letting us ask you questions.
No, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about the score that you created?
Yeah, so basically what I wanted to do here was really focus on building the tension, because, the clip that you're about to see, it's the end of Son of Saul. And so you're seeing that, like, he's kind of tired. He's kind of feeling like worn down. And basically the film is about a man who he's escaping Auschwitz, and his priority kind of becomes to take care of this boy and give him a proper burial. So basically in the clip you're going to see, we're seeing them kind of escape. They go into like this hut type of thing, and they just look so tired. And so I wanted to kind of build this tension up to really kind of emphasize what is going on in the moment, and then leading up until he sees a boy, and the boy you're not too sure actually how Saul is feeling. Is he scared? Is he happy to see him? Because to the viewer this could mean many different things. It could mean that he's nervous that he's now maybe been caught and they're going to get caught trying to escape, or maybe a little bit of hope because the boy smiles at him. But I figure it's not my job to figure out so much what I think is happening, more so just to emphasize what I see going on in the film. And I did kind of portray my message, which was that I felt like it was maybe hopeful. He sees him smile because Saul smiles back at him. So we kind of hear this tension building until this moment where there's a little bit of relief because he's smiling. And pretty much after that, the boy kind of runs, and then the video gets a little bit darker, so to say. But it's a really good film, and I had a lot of fun scoring it. And I just want to say I really liked Score the World. I actually found this contest just by Googling it, and I was really happy that I did. So to anyone watching who's trying to find more film scoring contests, you'd be surprised what you can find by literally just Googling film scoring contests.
That's awesome.
I found like a bunch.
Yeah.
And it's a great way to, staying active and continue to practice composing for very different types of films, just, getting out of your comfort zone and getting those practice runs. And who knows, maybe you win,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm always cutting Alva off. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to guess you two know each other.
I just wanted to say one last quick thing. I was actually kind of happy about it. So there was a few hundred people that entered, and I recently got my rank in the contest back, and I think it was 164 out of a few hundred. So I'm happy about that because it means I'm getting close to the top 100. So I was really happy about that.
That's great, Mara. Congrats.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I know we worked on this clip a little bit in our private lessons, but I wanted you to talk a little bit about since this is the first clip that we're gonna hear that has dialogue at all, and sound design. How was your experience scoring around that? Like, did you try to integrate those sounds and those words into your music? Did you try to stay away from them? What was the approach that you took for that?
Yeah, so I definitely took into account, I think actually if I just totally ignored it, I felt it would come off like, here's me. This is my music. Ignore the film, just listen to me. And that's definitely not what I wanted to do. I feel my job as a film scorer is to just kind of be there to emphasize what's going on, never to take away from what is happening. And so I definitely incorporated it. Like in the beginning, the music I think starts like maybe like 30 seconds into the clip because you'll see they're just kind of like rustling through some stuff, and just like the sound design of them rustling through everything. I didn't want to put something over it because this moment is so like, they're so worn out and tired. I felt like it was appropriate to wait until we see them sitting, and then the music can kind of start to come in slowly. And also, something that I was very cautious of was with the automation, with the dynamics. Definitely when they're speaking, I want to be careful to make sure that my music wasn't going over them, because I find that frustrating just watching a film if you can't really understand what they're saying. So definitely making sure that my music was under them talking. And I'd say that's probably really all that I took into account with the dialogue and the sound design.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you bring up that, when they're like really like running and there's a lot of like rustling sounds, not having music in, I feel like there's a psychological component to scoring where when the scene is just sound design and, you focus way more as an audience into those sounds, and that makes you in a way feel much more inside of the story. And I feel like when music comes in, there's like this detachment, right? Because we know that there is no music playing in real life, and so like it allows the audience to kind of take a step back and look at things more in a more omniscient way. And I find that very interesting, and I'm really looking forward to see how you bridge those gaps. And another thing I was going to ask about, you mentioned that you didn't want to tell the audience what is happening, like you want to stay out of it and let the ambiguity of the acting play out. I wonder what that translated for you in musical terms. Like, how do you create ambiguity in music, and how did you try to stay away from telling us this is sad or this is good or what's happening?
Yeah, well, I think definitely like little things, like if I were to all of a sudden just have a bunch of major chords, you'd be like, oh, okay, something good is happening, I guess. Or if suddenly I had like some like diminished and like crunchy sounding things or like sad sounding, you'd be like, okay, I guess I'm supposed to feel sad. But I hate it when you're like, I don't like the idea of just being like, Okay, I'm sad now. Oh, okay, I'm happy now. I like the idea of being like, well, what am I feeling? What's going on? Because I feel like the best movies are when you're so focused into what's happening and you're on the edge of your seat. You're like, well, I need to listen. What is happening? What is the music trying to tell me? But if the music gives away too much too soon, I feel like it kind of takes away from what the message of the movie is. And so, yeah, I guess that's pretty much my answer.
That's awesome, Mara. Thank you so much. What's next for you? Are you working on any new projects at the moment?
Yeah, so I'm constantly trying to enter different film scoring contests. I recently entered the Berlin International Film Scoring Contest, obviously Score of the World, and I'm working on some other things as well. I'm also working on a film scoring reel for my recital. And I also am a piano teacher, so putting together a recital for my students. And I'm also a copyist, so working on editing is kind of new for me, so I'm really enjoying that.
Sounds like you're busy.
Yeah. That's a lot of hats to be wearing, Mara.
Like it. Oh yeah, and I'll put the link in the chat shortly. But I started recently a YouTube channel full of like scale videos and stuff for piano, and I put you can find the clip there too, Son of Saul, and we'll be putting other stuff that I'm doing. And sorry, just one last thing, I'm also soon gonna be working with Noah Schwartz and his team, which is a few film majors, and I'm gonna be scoring a student film with them. So I'm really excited about that.
Awesome.
That's wonderful. And we have you for a little bit more time here at Purchase College, correct?
Yeah, I'm a first year graduate student, so I'll be here all of next year as well.
Wonderful. So I look forward to hopefully getting to see more of your work in showcases next year. That would be really wonderful. I'm sort of pressuring you all into, I'm just making my lineup in advance. So yes. Well, Mara, could you also do us all a favor while we're watching and put where we can find you into the chat, your YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff?
Yeah, and my website, it's pretty easy to find. It's just marakeenmusic.com, but I'll put it in the chat. And my YouTube channel is just MKM, but again, I'll put all the links in there.
That'd be wonderful. All right, great. Well, let's check this out.
Fünf Minuten. Wir müssen gehen weiter. 2 kilometry lasem. Powinniśmy spotkać kogoś z Armii Krajowej. Dadzą nam broń. Będziemy walczyć, co widzieć? Są już pod Krakowem. Jeśli nie, pójdziemy na Pszczynę.
Wow, so powerful. And I, it's so interesting, the flutes or strings, I believe, that almost creep in on like the major three in the smile part. And we're like all of a sudden thinking it's going to be okay. And then like very not potentially.
Yeah, it really shows how much the music can do in a ambiguous scene like this. Really can just take you anywhere as an audience. But yeah, I love how Mara, you chose the staying away approach, and we almost don't notice the music until we're meant to notice it, but it's always there, kind of supporting. And I feel like you did a beautiful job of almost not creating any. You have some melodic material that is kind of driving us through the scene, but it's just a moment in time, a moment of light, and then it just goes away, and we get this powerful ending. I feel like that it was a very tasteful approach to a scene like this, so great job.
Yes. Yeah. Great job, Mara. Thank you so much. And that brings us to our final presenters of the evening. And this is a feature film that's going to showcase the work of senior studio composition major Julia Klott and film major Jonathan Oliveira. They will be presenting the trailer to the film Stranded Astronaut, written and directed by Jonathan. The film follows a young man who is conflicted on whether or not he should follow his heart to space or stay on Earth. And the score is written by Julia Klott and consists of atmospheric ambient textural synths and eerie string sounds. So with that being said, let's ask some questions of Jonathan and Julia. Thank you both for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, and thank you for hanging in there. It was actually nice for me to have you both at the end, just because you're both Purchase students as well. And Julia, thank you for once again participating in our showcase. And this is a completely different side of you that we're getting to see this time around. In terms of composing. So could you I guess we'll start with Jonathan. Could you tell us a little bit about working with Julia? How did you find each other?
It's a great story, actually. So initially it was back in the fall. I was looking for a composer because I really wanted to finally have a original piece to one of my films. And then I just put out an Instagram post. I was like, hey, if anyone's musically inclined and wants to work and things like that. And then Julia swipes up all excitedly, just I've never done this before, but I'd love to give it a shot. And I was like, okay, there's passion there. And that's what I was looking for and looked out of. And everything else kind of just troubleshooted and figured it out as we went along. So that's kind of how that started.
Yeah, I was definitely one of the first people to respond on that. You posted it, and 2 minutes later, I was like, hi. Yes, I would like to, please.
Julia, is this the first film that you've scored before?
Mm-hmm. I've never done anything like this before.
That's awesome. I love that we're getting this how did you meet stories. We have a haircut and open forum.
Yes.
And all that chat. Feels like that's really nice. And definitely I feel like these collaborations are really inspiring, and just to push other music students to try and get on these sites, try to be engaging and get in touch with filmmakers. I think that's Jonathan, I think you can also be our connection there, and just start spreading the word to get other filmmakers to collaborate with composers. So speaking of collaboration, how was the process, given that, Julia, this was your first time tackling a movie like this? What was it like? Did you guys talk about the general concept? Jonathan, did you have any references for what you were thinking for the music for the film? What was it like?
Yeah, we kind of, sorry, Jonathan.
No, go ahead.
We kind of going into it, Jonathan kind of just gave me, he sent me the script was the first thing, and gave me a bunch of general themes that he was trying to convey, and also told me what he was envisioning kind of musically, the sounds he was picturing. And he told me initially he was picturing synthy sounds and maybe piano and maybe strings. So we kind of started off from there, and doing the scoring was interesting because I've never done it before, so I didn't really know what to expect going into it. And we kind of worked backwards in a way, starting with the script and not working off of visuals. So that was it was both a challenge, but also really exciting to do, because I feel it was it served as inspiration, just reading the words and kind of envisioning for myself what was going to be happening on the screen. So I think it worked out nicely.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, Jonathan, go ahead.
Oh, no, I mean, just a small add on this, just yeah, I mean, I really very much wanted Julia to be a part of the process, like from the beginning, because I feel like that's very integral, and I feel like with music and film, like it's so like they're so yin and yang, like they need to like be synchronous and asynchronous and work together. So like with Julia, like also being there and like during character work sessions or just like being on set or like during like even just the script process, like just knowing the story in and out just as well as I do, just like gives her the that level of comfort to like work with different sounds and things like that. So
Absolutely.
I wasn't like ever afraid of like I was always just like try this, try that, do this, do that. And I was always like impressed every time she said me something. So,
That's awesome. Yeah, I always encourage my students to try and be as involved as possible, from as early as possible. And I feel like we sometimes get only, filmmakers only consider the music when everything is just put together. And it's like, oh, I need this. And so we get the, the final cut, and that's all we do. But I always encourage whenever possible to start working from the script. Just there are a lot of examples of those collaborations, and that music also sparking things in the production process. So for example, the very famous story of the Joker, when Hildur had composed the suite beforehand, and the production team was playing it on set, and that's what inspired the bathroom scene that ended up being a centerpiece of the film. And I feel like that's a really important thing to do. And Jonathan, props to you for starting thinking about the music from the early stages. And so now that you have worked together for a while, and you have been going back and forth, changing things, like, is there anything, I guess, Julia, this is more for you, that you wish you had known at the beginning, like getting into this process, or something that you have learned through the process and that you will implement when you collaborate with another filmmaker in the future?
Yeah, I think it's like I said it before, like it's interesting the way we did it, like working off the script. So it's definitely different. Like now I have all the visuals in front of me. So it's like definitely different working off of like the words, and then also like the script kind of like shifted along the way. So there was like just a lot of changes. So it's interesting to work with the visuals, but I think I like both ways, like different, like working off the visuals and working off the script both inspire such like different things. So I think just like knowing how to go into it, if I score another film in the future. I mean, Jonathan, I'm working on another one of his films soon. So
nice.
Just like knowing how to go into it, and like I think I'll know better how to like work off the visuals and work off the script. So that'll be cool.
For sure. That's definitely a good sign that you guys already have the next project lined up. And I guess, Jonathan, did you like, having this suite of music beforehand, did that inform at all the production process, the way you were envisioning certain scenes, or did it make it easier to, film those scenes knowing that this was going to be in the background, tying everything together?
Yeah, I mean, I love when I write, even like the beginning process of just like outlining an idea. Like I always have like inspiration scores like playing always, like every step of the process. Then I feel like when I'm writing certain scenes, I'm more just like, oh, I think it'd be really cool if like there was like a swell of like triumphant music here, or like a calm like little melody here or something like that. Like it's always like in the back of my mind as I'm writing. And I know that like, and I'm starting to get into this habit now, because originally I used to play around with like having like temp scores on like like when I'm editing. That's terrible, because like you get so attached to that.
Temp love we were talking about.
So like, yeah, it's like this time around I was like, no temp. I'm just gonna go in cold with Julia, and we're just gonna work it. And then it's like it's been going great. So like, yeah, definitely like music, it's like a part of it always. And I just love it so much.
That's awesome. Yeah, I always ask my filmmakers to send me a playlist on Spotify or whatever of the music that they were listening to while writing, or while conceiving this story, because that tells you a lot, not necessarily about the style that they want ultimately in the score, but it gives you a lot of behind the scenes on that creation process, and what sparked that sound world. So that's definitely a good thing to do. Well, that's awesome. Looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah. So I have a couple more questions. Julia, what inspired the sounds that you chose? Was it suggestions from Jonathan or something you've been looking forward to experimenting with sound-wise?
Kind of both, the combination. Okay. Jonathan sent me like a bunch of songs that he had in mind, and I kind of was just like listening to those on loop. And I was like, okay, I'm like, he wants like a synthy world with like, you know, that builds up with like these like dramatic strings that like bring out the intensity at certain points. So like that's kind of what it like took a while to get there. Like it took a lot of like playing around with like different sounds and stuff, and it was mostly just like me on my keyboard like trying out different chord progressions and like different like twinkly sounds until I found ones that I liked. So
that's the gig.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I can't wait for us to show this off, and then also what you're both working on that's going to be coming out in the future together, this new collaboration. So where can people find out more about both of you? And I guess, Julia, you have your website there, juliaclott.com.
Yeah, everything's up there.
And you just released an EP as well that's out in the world this week. What's the EP called?
Ghost.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Jonathan, when is this film going to be out for the world to see?
The hope is by the end of the summer. Got still some like editing, post stuff that's still in production, you know, in that sense. But like other than that, hopefully by the end it'll be ready to go for festivals. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Wonderful. And you know, one question I forgot to ask before we check this out: who are the actors that we're going to be seeing?
Yeah. So we have Sean and Marshall. He's playing the lead, John Cooper, Corinne McLaughlin, who's playing Jordana, and Todd Thomas, who's also playing the father / antagonist of the film. So.
Okay. Are any of these Purchase students?
Yeah, both of them are Purchase students, and there was just an older gentleman who I found through a casting company outside. Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome. All right, great. And is this a premiere that we're technically doing tonight?
This is a premiere, yeah. So it's the first time to see the full trailer. So it's gonna be awesome. Hope you guys like it. Yeah.
All right, nice. Wonderful. Well, thank you both. Let's check it out. John?
Earth to John.
Hey, come here, come look at this. It actually kind of turned out okay.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think they could go on the wall.
Where you think you going, boy?
What?
What? I asked you a question. Is there anything you want to tell me?
What happened? Let's talk. What happened? You okay?
I need to go.
You're going? Wait.
I'm not gonna tell you again, you ain't going. You gonna stay your ass right here.
Do you hear yourself right now?
I need to go.
Hey, I'm gonna call the police.
You're not. No, Jordana, put the fucking phone down, Jordana.
Then
You're not
he's
calling.
putting you through.
Stop.
Tell me what happened. What did he do?
Why the fuck does it matter?
Why does it matter?
I had everything taken from me. So I could give less of a fuck how you feel about me.
Can you put that down?
Always knew you was a faggot.
Can you please put that down?
A fag who'd rather fly around playing spaceman than work with your own father. Now what?
I guess I'm not that different from him anyways.
You're not like him.
Maybe I am.
You're not.
Maybe I am.
You're not. You're nothing like him. You're a better person than he is. You're a good person. Leaving like that? That's exactly what he wants. Don't let him win.
Please just stay here with me.
Wow, that is just so captivating, and the tension, Julia, in that score. It's just, I saw a couple people write chills in the comments in the chat. So, hello.
And
we went back around to the top again. Yeah, Alba, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought that was awesome. I can't wait till this is out so I can check it out. But I loved how, Julia, you were able to mix those two worlds. You have the sweet pads that highlight, the support of that relationship, her trying to help and figure everything out with him. And at the same time, we have this like glissando in cello and low strings that are reminding us of this underlying tension, of this underlying trauma, probably that that he seems to be suffering from his relationship with his father. So I loved how you blend those two worlds very seamlessly, and we almost without seeing the film, we get those two worlds and those two storylines very clearly in the music, which is always a good sign for the score.
Yes, yeah, and those big bendy synths at the top too. I'm just such a fan. It reminds me so much of some of the Blade Runner scoring with the synths. It's just so cool. So fantastic work and wonderful collaboration. All Purchase College, and very, very, very exciting. So thank you both so much. That brings us to the end of our showcase evening. Thanks again to everybody for watching, and remember, you can share this. It's going to be up on YouTube and Facebook as well, so please feel free to share this with your friends and just keep showing off all the fantastic work that our students have done. If you're interested in getting more info, you can email me. My email's been on the banner for the whole
you
showcase.
have to use the thing where you point at it.
There it is. And you can also check us out at Music and Technology Purchase, as well as Music at Purchase on Instagram. And Alba, thank you.
Of course, it was so much fun. Anytime.
All right, cool. Everybody have a great night, and we'll see you for more of these hopefully soon. Take care.
Bye.